KUGAN, CASSIUS, IFL TV, MCK Global. We're at the undercard press conference of the Gal Eubank this Saturday night, live on ITV Box Office and Showtime
as well. Showtime, yeah, live.
Richard SCAHEFER, how are you, sir?
I'm excellent. Happy to be back here in the UK.
Well, that was a bit unexpected, that press conference today.
Man, that was...
Stavern looks like he wanted to rip Sam Jones' head off today.
He sure did. He sure did. I mean, I'm glad their security guards were here. Otherwise, we might have seen a fight right here. You could just see how the level of anger was rising in Stavern. So, but as I said at the press conference, he's ready. You see the shape he's in? He's in a great shape, Stavern.
Definitely. I mean, when you look at it and see kind of Stavern, former heavyweight world champion, Joe Joyce 7-0, you can kind of see why is he taking this kind of fight. But your plan has always been to kind of push Joe that little bit further to see how good he is.
Joe is an exceptional talent. He has two big assets which are important for a heavyweight, and usually the second one of those most heavyweights don't have. Joe has an amazing chin, and he has an unbelievable punch. He's in the hurt business. Is he fast? No, he's not fast. He's like George Foreman. It's the perfect comparison. One punch and you're gone. He really hurts you. And he's ready. I mean, the names he wants to fight, he gives me lists who he wants. And Bermain Stavern was in the top 3 on that list. And I'm glad we were able to deliver Joe who he wanted. It's a dangerous fight for Joe, but I believe Joe is ready.
Is Luis Ortiz on that list?
Yes, he is.
Who's the other one, Richard?
Dominic Brazil.
Okay.
And he said, of course, now with the WBA sanctioning as an eliminator, the plan is, assuming everything goes well, we are going to bring him back on I almost said the Fury Wilder card, but I'm going to say the Wilder card now, on the Wilder card, and then again later on in the year, hopefully against the winner of what it seems to be Char against Trevor Bryan. And so he will be fighting for the regular world title then, WBA. So we could see Joe Joyce becoming heavyweight champion of the world by the end of this year. And I believe by next year he'll be ready for the Anthony Joshua or the Wilder or the Furies of this world.
That's quite a big statement to make, Richard.
It is, but and I made a substantial investment in Joe Joyce, and I'm not. I know a little bit about boxing, so I don't intend to throw that investment away. When I say he's ready, I know he's ready. And when I say he's going to win those fights, I know he's going to win that fight. That's how much confidence I have in Joe Joyce.
Well, we're hoping, like I said, Sam Jones can make it out of the building in one piece today anyway, so people have got to watch.
Who knows?
This
I told him, stay away. Stay away.
Stay away. Richard, your thoughts on, Tyson Fury obviously signing to ESPN now. I'm going to couple this in with another question. We have Joshua with DAZN and we have Wilder with Showtime, so is this kind of pushing these potential fights further apart, or not necessarily, in your opinion?
Well, it's we have the three kings of the heavyweight division, so to speak, and each one is aligned with a separate platform. And I do think to be honest, it complicates matters, no question about it, because each one of those platforms have already made substantial investments in their respective fighters and in the sport of boxing. And they're not going to want to just give up a mega fight to one of their competitors. They're competitors, and they're both competing for the biggest fights. And neither one of those networks is going to want to give in. And the promoters can say all the nice things they want to say. Oh, we should work together, and there's a way, and there's this, and there is that. But truth be told, it really complicates. Things.
What do you make of Wilder's comments in the last couple of days about, him being a free agent and he's not tied down to any network and he could effectively go and fight on any platform? I mean, what's Espinoza thinking of that when he hears that?
Well, I don't know what the contractual situation is with Deontay Wilder and Showtime, but so I can't really speak to that. But I'm sure for Deontay Wilder to make that comment, he knows what he is saying. So he probably is a free agent, and but that doesn't necessarily mean that you might be a free agent on paper. But in the end of the day, there is such thing, believe it or not, even in boxing, which is called loyalty. And if somebody has been loyal for you and has helped you build up your career, then fighters do feel a certain moral obligation to have their host networks involved and not just go somewhere else. That's just not the right thing to do. But in the end of the day, as a fight fan, I do hope that these fights get made, and I think the way a Fury-Wilder fight gets made, if that fight goes to purse bid, there's a WBC which has said they're going to review the situation and they might order a purse bid, and I think that's actually the fairest thing for everybody, for the promoters, for the networks, and most importantly for the fighters. Because if a network is so interested in having that fight, then they need to empower their respective promoter, their partners, to come up with the right amount of money to win the purse bid. And if they don't, then they have only one to blame, which is themselves. And so the winners of that would be the fighters, because hopefully they're going to be splitting such an enormous pot of money. If you're going to have Showtime or Fox or The Zone even, or ESPN or BT Sports, all of those networks are involved and each one wants to get the fight, well, let the bidding begin and let's give the most money to the fighters. And then it's going to be interesting to see if one of those parties wins the purse bid. Is the other party gonna play ball? And
that's the interesting thing.
And I think they will, because I believe it would be such an enormous amount of money that the fighters will force them to play ball, because the fighters ultimately want those fights and they want to make the most money. And if Showtime or whoever else wins the purse bid, or then so be it. Or if ESPN really wants that fight so badly, then put up the money.
Or the Zone.
Or the Zone, exactly. Put up the money. That's the way to get this done. And I hope that happens. I hope that happens, because then it sort of like pulls everyone's pants down and say, hey, let's see what you got.
Absolutely.
Who's got the biggest one?
As it currently stands, though, would you say it's likely or unlikely that Fury and Wilder will rematch next? Frank Warren said to the media on Monday that he hadn't spoken to Shelley Finkel in a week. We believe now they have spoken and they're continuing discussions. But would you say it was likely or unlikely that their next fight is against each other, Fury and Wilder?
I had dinner with Frank last night, and I asked him that same question. And I can't really answer it, but I think he can. So I heard it from, as they say, the horse's mouth, and he said it was 50-50. I think that's a very diplomatic answer.
So there's still a chance of it happening.
So there's a chance, I mean, this is like, there is a chance, This is like this. I don't know if you've seen that movie Dumb and Dumber. There was this beautiful girl, and Jim Carrey asked her, well, is there a chance, for you and me? And she tells him, yeah, 1 in a million. He said, yeah, great, there is a chance, So I think it sort of like reminds me a bit
That's
about...
a great way of putting it.
It reminds me a little bit about that, because look, what I told Frank, I said, look, Frank, it's you and me here. We don't need to bullshit each other. I don't think the fight is going to happen. And he says, no, we're going to see if it can happen. And then I said, well, then let it go to purse bid. And he said, yeah, no problem to go to purse bid. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. As a fight fan, I love to see that fight. And I do believe, generally believe, that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, they want that fight. And I know us as fight fans, we want that fight.
Did you catch any of the Joshua Miller press conference yesterday?
Yes, I just saw some pictures. I was over here. I think it got pretty heated. What do
you think of that fight?
I think it's a good fight.
Yeah.
I like the fight, and some people say, oh, it's a bullshit fight, look what Miller did and so on. I always try to keep it real. I always gonna tell you, even if another promoter does a fight, I'm gonna honestly tell you if I think it's a good fight or it's not a good fight. And I'm sorry, I think it's a good fight. I like that fight. I think it's an interesting matchup. I'm a big fan of Baby Miller. He is, he's very charismatic, and we need characters and personalities like that in the sport.
Spoken to your old friend Eddie Hearn recently, Richard?
No, I haven't actually, but I'm sure one of these days I will. I was thinking I might be giving him a call, but I don't know where he is. Maybe he's back here. So
he's on his way to Tijuana, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they have a show there.
They have a show in Mexico this weekend. So he's on his way there, and then
No, but
give him a ring, Richard.
We have a good relationship now, so it's not like
People believe, like,
yes,
from an outside perception that you don't like Eddie, and
No. I respect what he has done, and I don't, I think some of the things he says, he minds too much about other people's business. He should mind more about his own business. But I don't have anything against Eddie Hearn, and I don't think he has anything against me.
No, I think he quite likes you, Richard.
Yeah, so I don't have, for him to come to the U.S., and then he's going to Italy, and now he's doing a fight in Mexico. I mean, come on, you've got to hand it to him. And I think it's great that he's bringing Joshua to the United States. So, it's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Richard, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. We're looking forward to a huge event at the O2. DeGale Eubank. Now Sam Jones fighting Joe Joyce fighting Stavern.
No, it's a hell of a card. Yeah. I'm really intrigued by the main event. I think there's so many storylines, and I really said, as I mentioned at the press conference as well, for PBC and Al Heyman to come now to the UK. Hey, it's a big world, and Eddie coming to the US and PBC coming to the UK. It's a global sport. As long as we get the best fights. And I think this matchup here between Stavern and Joyce and DeGale and Eubanks is terrific. It's a great card. And to have ITV behind it is fantastic.
I agree.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for your time.
We'll
catch up with you this
Always
week.
nice to see you.
Thank you, Richard.